Today on Gamer's Couch,
Space Cadets. Away missions.
Space. The final frontier.
No, it's the other thing. It's the O.
No,
No, not that one. Woman.
Which one? I don't know the theme music of Spaceship Orion. I don't know it.
I think this is closer to the original Star Trek series than
I did.
Orion. Although I have to say, all the looks and the aliens are really reminiscent of
the other one.
Here's your immediate German lesson of the day. The Raumpatrouille Orion, which was a German black and white space TV
show.
Series.
In the late 50s, early 60s, it must have been. My mom was a kid when she watched it. And this was the one series she really loved and then went on to Enterprise afterwards.
And and that's...
Must have been late 50s, early 60s.
And I'm sorry, we're not talking about a board game right away.
Not yet.
Just to catch you up. So if you ever see weapons that are kind of held like this with the pointy
Pinky
thing at the bottom, those were probably inspired from that. And the entire idea of having a spaceship made up of toasters, cloth irons, and some other weird kitchen stuff that just got repurposed. That's the show you are looking for.
So you can play it with your significant other in the kitchen while making dinner or something. Just saying, you can prep your dinner in space.
It's probably also
What I do.
One of the finest examples of popularizing anachronisms, where you have a space-faring humanity that is still using matches to light cigarettes on some things.
Don't you do that in space?
And here's a special tip for you, like a morsel of knowledge that you might have not found or have seen yet again. Try to find some clips of Orion and
They're on YouTube.
And marvel at their futuristic dance scenes, which are hilarious to behold. And with that, you probably will now leave and never come back again because you think we are terrible people. But
No, we're not. We're just weird. Welcome to Gamer's Couch, everybody. If you're new and you don't know who we are, or if you just came back and saw the space dance and are totally...
and are mesmerized and now need something
it's like,
else.
Human. This is Daniel, my sweet husband, and I'm Sarah, the artist behind Pinselgeschichten, and we are board game nerds. We are weird people, we have a very special sense of humor, and we share all of our opinions and knowledge and that sad humor with you every Sunday on the game table. That was formerly known as the Gamer's Couch, but we find those chairs and the big table very, very comfortable, and we can record on the second camera for you and show you every Sunday a different game from our collection, and we talk about it and, like I said, share only opinions with no filter with you. We go about it kind of structured. We try. We go about rules and gameplay first, then talk about what we liked or not liked. Then we talk about funny stories and experiences that we had during multiple plays of said game that we have. And last but not least, we leave you with a tiny teaser for next Wednesday's draw for initiative. I'm so proud of you. You get a kiss off camera and a tap on camera. You didn't interrupt me. I'm very proud of you. I try to do the same thing all video long when you talk. And now, sweet love, go to rules and gameplay.
No, you're
No. It's still your job. You don't get out of your job.
Welcome to space. Again, I mean, we've been talking about horrific things in the past couple of episodes, or some medieval things like victory points. and some trading things. It's time to get back into space, but into early space. So, as that intro kind of already gave away, this is about the golden age of space, where people were still traveling around with kind of fishbowl-like helmets in space and have their disruptor blasters without some weird fancy techno babbling to back it up. It's just, if it looks like a swirl or something like that, it's probably that, but it also shoots lasers. And
I'm wondering, as you were saying, fishbowls, there was a movie last year that was set in recent time called Martian. He had a fishbowl as well.
yeah,
Does that mean
no, that's like more.
we're still in the golden time of space? Can we go?
No, I mean the full-on
Oh, the full-on. Oh,
fishbowl,
Okay.
which you may see in character art like this here. So this is the kind of thing you are getting into if you're playing Space Cadets Away Mission, which is another or
Do you have a brain in a jar in your throat?
I have some alien that may have
A leech.
yeah, may have taken residence in my throat. So, ignore you, the human. So, in Space Cadets Away Missions, you are, well, Space Cadets. Actually, or more technically, you are kind of part of a space team that goes onto explorations either on planets or space stations or ships. It doesn't matter. It's a little bit abstracted out, but that's what you do. It's your team versus the alien team. This being a cooperative game for 2 to 6 players.
Yeah, should be 2 to 6.
There's
4 sheets.
Let me check with my alien in my throat. That's it's 1 to 6 players, and those 1 to 6 players should all be 14 years and older, or at least combined be of that. Although maybe that's not very helpful making informed decisions, but it certainly is useful. And you will do different stuff. This is a game that comes with a scenario or a scenario book that lets you do different things, sets up the game board, although the game plays quite similar, even if the objectives change a little bit in between. So, what we build up for you on the table is the first mission, kind of the tutorial to get us started.
We're on Mercury.
We are on Mercury. Mercury still exists in this universe. Yes. We have, to my right, First Officer Annie Fletcher.
I have pretty much the same color scheme as her with my clothes today. That was not intended, but I do have some peach in my blouse.
By this. And on this side, it's Captain Ben Riggs, who is totally not William Shatner. So, you can start to play.
Oh no.
No?
Don't do that.
No, okay. Sorry.
Do the Chris
sorry.
Pine. That's more.
I'm sorry. Actually, I wouldn't even know how to do Chris Pine in a memorable.
He talks normally without 15 milliseconds. No. I mean, I really liked Shatner at his time, but we're in the modern age. Come on, and you got a hair on my.
He's still with us. It's not.
Yeah, I know, but I don't like what he plays anymore. The characters that he chooses to play. I liked him back then in the Enterprise, but not today.
The character he plays being rich old man with
opinions. He did some roles like Miss Congeniality and other stuff where he appeared, and Boston Legal and all those. No, it wasn't Boston Legal, but it was something like that.
He's in Boston Legal.
Was he, right? So not fond of that, but I really liked him back then. The Enterprise.
But
he was a cool dude.
Coming back to our space mission, let me give you a hint. So this is the scenario book, and you would set up the thing that we set up by looking at Mercury and Alien Probe, and you get a little bit of fluff text. It's actually a lot of fluff text. And some information. So this scenario specifically is recommended for 2 to 4 players. So you have actually a more of kind of designed experience here. It's not one fits all missions all the way down. Some are better with less players. Some are better with more players. This is a rather short scenario. There is many more tiles in this game, so you can actually build a lot of big stations if you want to do so. And once you get the hang of the objectives, I'm pretty sure you could randomize and say, "Hey, we're doing this or that." And this setup also tells you what you will find. So join me on the table. We will always start in the airlock, which, well, not necessarily always, but here we start in the airlock, which is the only discovered tile so far. The rest of the station is not yet discovered, and on each of these tiles there will be aliens we might have to fight, and there is a discovery which may aid us in the game. When we started, we selected a couple of Rocketeer items that will help us, also something that is usually given by the scenario, which is available or how many you take. We chose to go in with the atomic rifle, which is a weapon better suited for long-range engagement. But it also works in close quarters if need be, although you really want to help that out. Just a quick primer how to read this. So this is just atomic rifle. It's a large item. You can only start the game with this or that many large and small items. So and down here, this is actually all you need to know to make an attack roll. This tells you how many dice you will be rolling and how far the target is away. The red tile being the one you're standing on, and then this gets 5 dice, this gets 5 dice, this would get 3 dice, and then everything beyond that is out of range. Sarah chose the same.
Well, the scenario chose for us in this case. But yes, I chose, of course.
But currently we cannot see anything. By the way, in this game, you roll 10-sided dice, and everything between 1 and 3 is a success, and everything not is, well, not. And that is all you need to know. It's very, very fast and simple to pick up. So, on my turn, the first thing we have to decide is who's actually starting at the turn. In this case,
I want to.
Sarah is starting. So, she gets this little token, and I hold it up in this camera, it's probably easier to see, which says she has the order number 1. And puts it onto her character sheet under order assignment. So your sheet here, just to actually, that might be better seen here. Okay.
Hold it straight, don't wobble.
Okay, so each character has amount of hit points, which, surprise, is your life. You have a certain amount of O2, which is oxygen, in case you're not chemically inclined, which has special use during the game, and that actually scales with how many Rocketeers are playing, which is also nice. So if you want to play with 2 players, but with 4 Rocketeers, you can do that. You would just adjust this thing here. And this is where that order token goes to, so that you keep track of who went when in the turn. That is important later for alien combat resolution, because they will attack whoever went last with more prejudice than the others. And you also have a couple of action points, which any other game could just say, well, you have 3 action points, use them as you wish. Here you have these little AP tokens, and you move them over to indicate that they're spent. So there's a lot going on here. And sometimes you have specific action points that can only be used for certain tasks, as well as a little reference sheet here. The overkill option, I will get to that once we talk about making checks and rolls, and because that's also kind of the main interesting thing about this game. But let's go. You have your first turn. At first, before doing anything,
I have to scan an adjacent tile or a tile closest to me, and I want to go with this one here.
By the way, what do we have to do in this scenario?
We have to collect an alien probe.
Okay.
No, we have to kill the Sentinel. Sorry.
Oh, there's an alien called the Sentinel. It looks pretty ugly, like this. Well, we have to find him, and then we have to end him.
Don't body shame him. He's just a Sentinel. He would be better liked if he would be in a group and live in a multiverse, but
he looks like a predator crossed with an eagle and having a bad haircut.
Yeah, or he's like the I don't know what the exact position is, but there's a position in football, American football, where they sense. Anyway.
It's the hand egg position.
Yeah, I'm going to go with this is the tile. Now, placing the tile, it has to be with the arrow
in the same direction.
Or in the same direction in this case, because we have it slightly rotated. And the 2 tokens say, for one, I can discover a telepathy band. And there's 2 saucermen and a bug. Now, in this scenario, they said we should not take care of the bugs yet because it is the start. Yeah, it is just the starting scenario.
So, saucermen are these fellows, and although they look a little bit different, they are exactly the same. So they just get placed here and are kind of annoyed that we are there.
Yeah.
The telepathy band, although it is a token, it actually refers to a card. So while Sarah is thinking about her next move...
I'm not thinking, I know what I have to do. I do have 2 action points and 1 non-combat action point. So what I'm going to do is, with the atomic rifle going first, shooting one of those... Oh no, I have to open a hatch.
One little inconvenience that we have to explain. If you are looking at the tiles, some of them have what looks like walls, or in this case are actually hatches. Whenever there is one between 2 tiles, it is considered to be closed by a hatch. It doesn't matter if there's 2 or 1, as long as there is one, there's supposedly a hatch. Unfortunately for us, aliens can usually walk through and shoot through hatches. We cannot. So, I assume as your
the non-combat action, I want to open the hatch.
So we have a little token that we place here to remind us that this hatch is now open.
And then I'm gonna shoot the dudes twice. I do have 5, which means I take, it says 5 for 1 tile away, which in my case I would use the 5, which means I have 5 dice for rolling. So I'm taking the ones that we can see best on camera, and then I'm trying my best to get a lot of 1, 2, and 3s. Shake it, baby. And I have 1, 2. The rest is not working for me. It's 9s, 0s, 10s, and 8s, and
so producing 1 hit with her atomic rifle. She hits the saucerman, and each alien has a little reference card here that explains how many hit points they have. Saucermen in this case have 1 hit point, die rather easily, and they just go away. So there's no defense rolling or any other annoying stuff.
Number 2, I want to shoot the other.
Okay.
Still only a 2, no overkill. We cannot show the overkill because I'm incapable of rolling dice super well.
That's fine. That's a good roll.
And that's all my actions done.
It killed whatever Sarah did. Now, because we are super trained in space exploration, Sarah actually starting first has another benefit to it. In this case, Sarah's character has a little bit less hit points than my character. Since we said, well, the order also kind of influences who is attacked or who is targeted by whom, it makes sense for me to go last, because I can take a couple of hits if we don't clean up everything. By the way, that telepathy band that is around here says if we would pick it up, it has 2 charges, and we can use that charge to use another Rocketeer's personal overkill option, and we will get to overkills very soon. Let me first...
Once we roll something.
Let me start my turn so that we can get through one full thing. I will scan here, which is the closest adjacent thing, and this also has to be aligned with the arrows, and there's no hatch here, so whatever is here will be immediately visible. In this case, again, 2 saucer men, and theoretically some bugs, which we ignore. Also, we would find a heat ray. Maybe you can check the discovery items.
I will.
Now, in my turn, I actually have 3 AP, which are all generic AP. That heat ray says we can use it 3 times, permanently destroy or seal 1 hatch in line of sight. That is quite useful. So an alternative to opening a hatch, sometimes you can not just close the hatch, but seal the hatch, which also keeps aliens out and allows you to herd them a little bit away. So I'm also trying my best to kill those aliens, and will be rolling 5 dice. And I hit 1. Now, for sake of demonstration, let me now let's say I hit 3 times. What happens now is I hit and produced 2 overkill options, so to speak. So the first die for hitting, it would just make 1 point of damage or whatever the weapon does to the saucerman. Now with the other 2 dice, I have a couple of options at hand. For one, the weapon I've been using to shoot them has an overkill option here. It says dislodge, move 1 alien in line of sight 1 tile. So I could say I kill him, and then I move him over there, so he is further away from us. Obviously, you need to obey a line of sight, or specifically these hatch movement restrictions. Saucermen can actually move through closed hatches, so I could even move him through here. Some other aliens that might not work. But that's just one thing I can do there. Another thing is found on the alien character sheet of the saucerman, and this says overkill option Psychic Scream, and Psychic Scream says stun 1 leader or saucerman, ignore line of sight. So I could say I kill him and then I stun him, so I just flip him over to indicate that he is super stunned. A stunned alien does nothing on its turn. It just needs to stand up and is taken out. So it's like as if it would be stunned. Surprise. But wait, there's more. Each character has a personal overkill option, and that's actually where the telepathy band makes a little bit more sense. So my personal overkill option for Captain Ben Riggs says, command. Per overkill spent, give 1 free command AP to a Rocketeer except for yourself in the same tile. So what happens now is, and I'm going to use that, so I have 1 hit that kills him. I use the overkill option of the saucerman to stun him, so he won't be attacking us. And the other overkill option I can use to give this little AP thing to Sarah. So next turn she has an additional action.
Yay!
To do stuff. And that was only my first thing to do. Now, let's say I want to spend the next 2 actions, one for moving, and you just move one space. That's quite simple, as since the hatch here is open, I can just go through that. I can pick up the telepathy band, which just gives me the card here.
Sorry.
And actually, that's pretty much it. I could move back again. I cannot move to that other tile, so I guess I will just wait there.
Okay.
Now, after all the Rocketeers have moved, all the aliens move. I have some cards that these are probably not on the camera very well. But these cards define in which order all the aliens act. It's called the protocol for the aliens, so there's a strict hierarchy. So I just need to go through this. Do we have a brain in the jar? No. Do we have a leader? No. We have a sourceman? Yes, but he's stunned, so we won't be hearing from him. So after we move through all these aliens, we figure out what happens, and each alien is a little bit different. So just to give you
the cleanup phase then happens.
Yeah, let me please
explain
the alien phase first.
Oh, sorry.
So we have, let's say we have a leader here, and maybe a brain in the jar there, and a leech here. So if we would be doing that, the brain in a jar acts first, and it actually does not do a movement action at all. It just says if there's a rocketeer within 2 spaces, and we would be in this case, we have to move one of our action points to this little mind control field on the character sheet, meaning we get 1 action less next turn, which is quite an inconvenience. The brain in a jar is also, well, yes, you can see, heavily shielded. So it has 2 hit points. And you can try to kill it, or you can try to subdue it, which would be a non-combat action. And I'll go through all the possible actions in a moment. I just want to go through here some of the stuff that happens. After the brain in a jar is done, the leader is the next to activate, and he has, for example, 2 move, and now, with both of our Rocketeers being close, he would move to the one who has the highest order scan number. So he would move to me, and then can move and attack through closed doors, and can move and attack in the same turn. So he moved to me and attacks with 4 dice. And we just rolled for him. Same rules apply. He has, in this case, one hit point. So I would lose 1 little life cube, and that's it. Aliens, unfortunately, also can have overkill effects, and these are typically described on the card. So the leader, if he would have rolled another hit, he would trigger an overkill effect saying panic. The Rocketeer loses 1 oxygen, and this is one way of how you can lose oxygen. Obviously, if you have no hit points, you die. If you have no oxygen, you die. And since this is a cooperative game,
everybody dies.
If you die, everybody dies. So you would go through all these aliens with all those different things happening, and some have quite interesting movement patterns. For example, these bugs here, which look like little spiders or ants. They swarm up and they get more movement points the more of those little beasts are around, and essentially you just follow the card and follow the instructions that are set on there. So after all this happens, as Sarah already preemptively noted, the cleanup phase goes on. In a cleanup phase, everything that's stunned becomes unstunned. Unfortunately, every hatch that was opened becomes closed again.
Bye-bye.
And if we had locked it, that also would unlock. Essentially, now bringing us back to our turn, where we decide who wants to go first and do some interesting stuff. By the way, what's your overkill option?
My overkill option is move out. Move out! Per overkill spend, give 1 free move action to self or Rocketeer in the same tile. The move action must be used immediately. So you don't have to wait for the turn. You can rescue somebody before the alien phase starts, and they all had their actions before me. I'm the last one to go, and you're kind of like behind or something.
Okay.
It works nicely there.
Now, since if Sarah would start this turn, there are no adjacent scannable tiles anymore. She would just choose from the closest that is available here. If you want, you can just flip over a tile.
Yes, I want this one.
Okay.
We saying that I scan first. So after every round, you decide anew who scans first. So you are the second scanner.
And since we are just 2 players in this setup, it is surprise.
X-ray goggles and a leader and 2 saucermen.
That is unfortunate.
Oh, hold on. I'm gonna get to them. I'm gonna get to them. Hold on. Click.
And some X-ray goggles.
So I'm having 4 actions because I think the captain has an eye on me. He really likes me. He gave me an extra action. So I'm having 4 action points. First one, I want to shoot because I want to shoot. Good thing is that I don't have any hatches, so I don't have to use actions to open hatches this way, and I can just go boom, boom, and hopefully kill a few.
Line of sight is calculated by looking at the center of a tile and seeing if it actually connects to the center of another tile. And unlike in some other games, you are actually allowed to go along the edge of a tile. So going from this center point to that center point, Sarah does have line of sight, and it's 2 spaces away, so she rolls 5 dice.
Yeah, I thought I'd kill him first.
Or 1 space away.
Let's go with him first, and that is a 1, so he's gone. Bye-bye, bye-bye, bye-bye. That was the commander. I'm gonna give you that one back. Now I will go for... how many lives does the leader have? Also,
they all have 1 hit point.
Oh, okay.
But the leader has an unfortunate skill.
Let's go for him. Oh, I have an overkill. I have 1 and a 3. That's 2 hits.
So the leader and the sorcererman are essentially the same, with the difference that the leader has a couple more attack dice, so he would roll 4 dice instead of 2.
I want to kill him. Sorry, folks.
He has this panic option where the sorcererman has a mind control option. Something that is quite annoying is during the movement protocol, the leader goes first, and if there are sorcerermen on his space, since he can move 2, he would just move them with him.
I want to kill the leader.
To the other guys, while these would only move 1 space.
I want to kill the leader, and I want to use the... what does... the overkill option
it's the psychic scream, allowing you to stun any other sorcererman or leader without requiring line of sight. So
that's number 1. Now I have 1 more action left that I can have combat. So wish me luck. That is a 1 with
2 overkills.
Yep. I'm being
let me guess,
enormously well this time round.
Do you want to move the stunned dude somewhere with your atomic rifle? Do you want to dislodge him, or is there... Or you can move yourself. You can move forward with...
and I have another non-combat action. So this one is spent. But first, let's dislodge him. Let's have him here.
That's your first overkill?
That's 1 left. Another 1 left. Do you want to move?
You can only move me if we are on the
same tile. Space.
But you could move 2 spaces now with the overkill and then with your non-combat action.
And I will take this one.
You can pick those up without being... And there's no limit how much stuff you can carry around with, as long as you're finding that during the mission.
Then my non-combat action is going here, and I'm taking the X-ray goggles. Ignore 1 closed hatch in line of sight. That's nice. And permanently destroy or seal 1 hatch in line of sight. Awesome. Now, sweetheart, it's your turn. I'm so done.
Okay. We're bringing this to a close. I will use 1 AP to open the hatch. I haven't reset mine.
You have to scan first.
I have to scan, yes. Since this is the closest, I need that back. So we find this here, and on this space we have the force field belt, and we find 2 sorcerermen, a bug, and some unfortunately cosmic radiation. So some of these tiles have, negative effects that are going on. Since I don't remember directly what cosmic radiation is, let's take a look. Where is it? No, that's Alien Protocols, Overkill Summary. Cosmic radiation. Each Rocketeer loses 1 hit point. So we have to get rid of another hit point. That is unfortunate. Okay, so now is my turn, but I will now do I will open this hatch instead. And I will attack. Attacker! Whoop! And I have 2 overkills, so I'll kill 1 guy. I'll stun the other guy, and I'm I cannot give myself 1 AP, so this command thing doesn't really help that much, so I can only move him over here with my overkill option to dislodge him. That was my second action. Now, what I want to use is the telepathy band, which is not an action, but I just spent the cube that's on here. Use another Rocketeer's personal overkill option. I want to use Sarah's overkill option to get myself a move on. And now I have a force field belt that was on this tile. So the force field belt allows me to discard or ignore 1 hit with that.
Nice.
And again, actually, let me use my last AP to move over to Sarah. So the next time I have an overkill option, I can... That's not how overkill works.
No? Okay.
So we will run through this installation trying to figure out, well, where the objective is. Sometimes it is find an alien and kill it. Sometimes it is something as simple as there's a specific tile mixed in here, or sometimes there are these tile markers on here that indicate that there's a specific thing, like a PSI agitator that you have to interact with, which brings us to what actions can you actually do. You've seen most of them already, or the one most commonly used, running around and shooting stuff. Opening hatches. You can also close hatches. There's a fair amount of non-combat so-called IQ actions that usually revolve around this brain in a jar, or there are some humans in here that get some wire in their head and are now controlled by the aliens. These 2 fellows are kind of annoying, specifically the thrall, because you cannot attack the thrall. It does not have hit points. Since this is a human being and you have some morals and human decency, what you are trying to do is to, subdue these guys and save their life. So instead of attacking them, you are on the same field and would perform a subdue action, which is similar to an attack, but instead of rolling your attack dice from the weapon here, you are rolling the IQ dice on your character sheet. Other IQ actions can be healing. You can heal someone else and or yourself and restore hit points by doing that. If you perform an overkill in that regard, you can usually, or you're just limited usually to your personal overkill option. So obviously, if you're using, let's say, a weapon like this atomic rifle, you can only use the overkill option if you have been using that specific weapon. You can technically carry more than 1 weapon, and some give you some other bonuses. So something that you will come across quite often because you might need it is the, let's say, the air knife, which is a close combat weapon. And the air knife lets you roll 3 dice but only attack in the same space that you are. But if you have a success, you perform a hit and gain an alien blood. So there's a couple of resources you can gather in this. If you hit an alien with the air knife, you get this alien blood token. If you subdue a thrall, you have a good chance of finding some mind wire, which is the other side of this. And obviously, if you are able to collect resources, there must be a way to spend resources, which brings us to a new kind of thing we haven't yet. There's some discovery items in here that need to be discovered. Oh, actually, my force field belt already was that. So this item can be used, but what I have to do beforehand, I have to identify it. I have to analyze this alien technology before I'm able to use it, because obviously the one button press thing doesn't work for the aliens, I guess. So if it says IQ with a little magnifying glass up here, I have to perform the IQ analyze action. Same thing. You roll your IQ dice, and for each, if you have a success, it is successfully identified. Other things are like this teleporter. You see that there's some resource requirements. So you not only have to identify this, but you also have to build it by getting some wire and getting some mysterium, which is this alien crystal thing, which is not found on aliens, but is a discovery token. So some of these discovery tokens can be items, but some are resources that you can use there. Others are schematics, which let you build these things. So sometimes you have to find that stuff first. I actually think we have... Are these schematics? No, I don't think so. These are the other thing. Let me see if I can immediately find a schematic in one of these. Wonderful. There it is. So let's say we have a discovery item here, and in this case it's the Tantalus projector. This is now yellow and says schematic here. And under the discovery items, this is exactly what I just had here. So you need to find the schematic to get the card, and then similar to that, but you instead of analyzing it, you build it using those resources. There are some missions in here where that is actually the main objective, where you have to shuffle in a certain amount of schematics and then build them before you are allowed to escape. And escaping either happens through the airlock or some other space. Actually,
elevator.
I haven't seen if there's missions where you win immediately, but usually it was where you have to do something and then you have to find a space to escape or get out of the alien ship to do something with that. Just carefully glancing over. Subduing thralls and brain energizers, I've already said, is an IQ action. The thing that's a little bit different there is if you perform an overkill on subduing a thrall, not only do you get your wire, which looks still like some networking RJ45 cable, but you get to draw one of these rescued thralls cards, which are... well, humans, and they typically give you additional things. So you carry the humans around with you. Now, wireless with their heads, they can help you with certain things. So
they're a hotspot.
The football player gives you one free open hatch action per turn. These guys are really useful. It is worth checking out, trying to rescue them. On the other hand, the brain in a jar, if you get an overkill there, you have a chance of getting a dominated brain in a jar, which are these beautiful cards, which typically give you more IQ because you have some kind of outsourced brain gray matter that's doing the thinking for you. So it's kind of a space smartphone, I would guess. Something like that. And I think that covers almost everything.
Yeah, the only thing is the alert tokens that we do not have in this scenario.
Yes.
And then you're actually done, got it all.
Some scenarios have these little alert tokens on this space, and you resolve them once you do. Sometimes it says, alert, draw one alien token for the muster tile, and that is the starting tile, where you just grab one alien token, and those are kind of like reinforcements coming after you, and more swarm in. And even though we were quite successful here in our little demo destroying the aliens, typically they start to overwhelm you at some point, so you want to get your thing done. It's a cooperative game. You've seen this before. On the other hand, sometimes you're lucky and the alert has no effect. Also, depending on the scenario, it could be that there are conditions that will trigger the red alert phase, which then has you kind of speed things up, bringing more monsters in, making things more inconvenient. And you typically want to get out here before the red alert phase comes up. So the game itself has a timing component just by tending to be a little bit overwhelming with the aliens, because they're usually, you find more than you can kill in the same time. But if you're still too good at that, the game will typically come after you at some point in time. It has a real timing component where you will just get thrown aliens left and right at you.
Yeah.
Doing that.
Well, there's a whole army back there. There's enough minis that come with the game, so They all need to be, and that's just like 2/3 of all the aliens that come with it. The sentinels, the leeches, and the bugs, and the brain in a jars. They have their own little Ziplocs. There's more.
There's a lot of guys in here.
Yeah. But I think that covers it. I don't see
Let
what
me do
you
the
forgot.
Picard maneuver.
Yeah, do it. Oh, yummy. Let's move into the next section, likes and dislikes. Do you want me to start?
Yes, please,
Okay.
because I
Good.
would
No,
like
no,
to
I'm just-
space my Earl Grey.
Hot.
I was like, okay, what was the other thing he's saying?
You know, that's actually totally not in regards to the game here, but all the food from the replicators, that is actually recycled human things like pee and the other funny things that humans do. So there is a joke on the web that Picard, like with a meme and everything, that he's actually drinking Riker's pee when he says Earl Grey hot. So yeah. Anyway,
I don't think that's how replicators work. I always saw they convert energy into matter, like the holodeck
and
does,
the getting rid of things is transferred into energy, and the energy is taken for the replicator. So that's why there's the joke of he's drinking Riker's pee.
Obviously, the rules of energy conservation still apply even in a Star Trek universe. So, but let's be honest here. Whatever you think you're eating right now or being eating later, those molecules typically were something else beforehand.
Yeah. No, I just.
There's a reason you would throw shit at trees, like dung,
I do coffee. By the way, for all the planters out there that are not very happy with the chemicals that you can use to grow plants faster. Try your coffee beans or the remains after you brewed your coffee. It's actually working really well, especially for herbs. Anyway, let's talk about the game again, right?
Coffee-addicted organisms.
Yeah, well, sugar and caffeine actually works for the plants.
If I find used coffee stuff in my shoes...
We will
have a talk about this.
No, although you can say I am Groot, you're actually not Groot, and you don't need to grow anymore. You're good. You're tall as hell. Anyway, let's get to the game. So, for one, I really like the Space Cadets line of games in general. And this one was the last edition that we had. It's one of my favorites in this whole universe, but it's not my favorite. There's a lot of things that I really, really like. There are some things where I'm curious about because we didn't play all of the scenarios and all of the extra scenarios that came with the Kickstarter Super Duper Wahahaha book. So I'm wondering, and I didn't read ahead, so I don't really know.
Yeah, this scenario book, just to give you a reference point, has 42 pages of scenarios.
Yeah, we did Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Moon, and the next for us would be Mars, and you go out to the invisible planets. Anyway, so there's a lot of scenarios that come with the game, but we've played with pretty much any component so far that is in the game, the schematics and the alerts and blah, blah, blah. So I think, though not having looked at future missions that we're going to go on, I think I have a pretty good overview of what's to come in the ways of how this game is going to play. It's going to be just bigger in size at one point and longer and more aliens coming in, but the game mechanics all have been introduced. So aside from the quality of the components and the artwork, which is gorgeous and really sets you into this early 60s space TV scenery, which is very lovely. I like the colors that do come with the game. It's a lot of green, A lot of pastel tones, so I really like that. The artwork is gorgeous, so great. But when I'm actually more interested in the gameplay with this one. With some games, I'm very, very much loving the visual and just touching components a bit longer and more and enjoying that phase before actually going to play. But with this one, not so much. It's very lovely. It's fine. It's awesome. But it didn't make me sit there in awe. One thing though that made me giggle are the dice, because they have glitter in them. And if you think 60s, 1960s, that is, whenever you're watching this in the future, it says disco and it has glitter and it's a lovely joke and I love it. But the gameplay is a very typical co-op feel for those games, but it's not as well. It's not scary. It's not terrifying. With other cooperative games, you sometimes have this immense feeling of desperation, and I don't have it with this game. It's not that we are walking through there like, this is totally simple, roll some dice here, no. No, you have some thrill and tension, but it's not to the point that you say, oh God, we're never gonna get it. How? That feeling, I didn't have it yet. I might have it in later scenarios. I'm not saying that it will maybe not ever feel like a very terrifying game. It might be, but it feels a little bit easier than other cooperative games, or more doable. Let's put it this way, more doable. And I like that. If I don't want to have the brain fuck going on the table and the really difficult games, I'm just being totally exhausted afterwards, I might just say, hubby, no, we're not gonna play Pandemic or Machina Arcana. We're gonna play Space Cadets tonight. And I think it has very, very lovely space in our collection there to fill exactly that need or that want for a certain kind of a game. I do like that you can decide your own speed as you go through. Yes, there's a clock with the alert tokens and everything, but you can sit there and think about, okay, when you decide who's gonna scan first, who's gonna do what first, what are the plans for that turn, you can take your time and talk about it for a minute or even 5, and then you go and just execute your plans pretty much. And I like that there's no timer rush. I would say that this co-op game is more geared towards families with maybe teenagers or just siblings playing together. Just from the story and the theme of space being there, I could very well see that for teenagers that are interested in science and exploring the universe, that this is a theme for them, and who are maybe sick and tired of the medieval games or something. I don't know. I think it's definitely geared towards teenagers, so towards me, because in my brain I am definitely not a grown
40 years and older, like Sarah is.
Well, actually, my mental age is 40, so I'm 5 years older than I am on paper with my mental age, they say.
She switched.
What am I?
Please continue with your impressions.
Yeah.
Say anything you disliked very heavily.
No, it's not. It's not actually a dislike. It's more the concern that, yes, with all the scenarios and you go from planet to moon to planet throughout our solar system, that it's more of the same and that there's not going to be any exciting things coming up in the stories. But that's more a fear, because we did have 4 missions so far and they were Well, they were introducing things, and the first two and the other two were just playing. So, meaning everything's introduced, all the mechanics, and now you have a scenario there. But these were more of the smaller scenarios. If I look through just the scale of the tiles that the amount of tiles that you're gonna have in later scenarios. So I'm just, it's not a dislike, but it's more like, I'm not sure how exciting the later missions will be if they are just more of the same. Or
just to give you an idea.
If there's just by the sheer size of the board, if there's another kind of a thrill coming up.
Later missions are big. By the way, the scenario books has some really cool
I like
propaganda artwork in here.
Yeah, and it always has a fluff text, and that kind of helps you out with the missions too, like when you select whom you're gonna take with you, or what items might be useful. It's always hidden in the fluff somewhere. Just, don't disregard the yellow speech bubbles. You might find something helpful there.
This game has as much humor and funny stuff in it as the other Space Cadets thing. I think this even a little bit more. Space Cadets itself as a co-op game tends to be funny because it's this deadpan, everything is on fire around you and you're trying to kind of get to the end without everything breaking up and the enormous stress that's affecting all the players. This doesn't have that stress. Maybe it's that because I think it's a little bit more
slower.
But it has these funny call-outs. The other game this reminds me of, in regards to the type of humor, would be Space Alert. That also has some welcome attendance.
Yeah, exactly.
You are here to now end your life in glorious exploration.
And explosion as well of the spaceship. Now, like I said, it feels a little bit slower, but it definitely feels like a Space Cadets game. We do have 3 major ones and a few expansions, if I remember correctly.
Yes, it's Space Cadets Dice Duel, and this is the third. Although
the away mission,
something that I do like, but that came with the Kickstarter version of this game. But I actually would like to see more games doing something like that.
Please.
Is this little book, which is just has promos, illustrations, has some additional scenarios. The thing that I actually like most about this is it has little text blurbs by the designers, some guy called Barnacore. I think he's the publisher. He's on some other videos on the I don't follow internet videos very much, but Jeff Engelstein still continues to be the MVP in this book by providing the success chance table for all of the dice.
Thank you.
Good on you. Sometimes less text and more tables does make a difference.
Yeah, gaming tables, right?
Yeah.
Sorry, I had to.
Maybe now, and I guess now when we in October will go to Essen and Spiel and Stronghold Games is there. I maybe he's not watching these videos, so otherwise I get a very stern look looking at.
I just know that they did watch the Draw for Initiative for Space Cadets. I'm not sure if they watched the Gamers Couches.
But what I was about to say, what I liked here is some history about how this came together. That this essentially, this wasn't planned as a Space Cadets game first, but was pitched as a different game, and then was just moved into the Space Cadets universe.
But funny enough, they did such a good job that I would never have guessed that. Because it feels very Space Cadets-y. It feels home in that franchise.
It feels like the game that sticks out, but it just from a mechanical perspective. Because Dice Duels and the regular Space Cadets all have these. You're probably going to die of a heart attack based on stress before the end of the game.
There's the timing issue that is very stressful.
This thing, and Dice Duels even more so, because it's like. I remember shouting and screaming at tables with dice thrown around. Well, maybe we'll get to that game at some point, but
Yeah,
not
I will
so
have
sure.
a heart attack before that.
Yeah.
That is, did you, one thing before we rate, what
Oh,
I want to know
I
is,
thought I get to say something about
No,
what
no,
I
no.
think.
I'm just saying one thing that I want to know before we rate is what's your favorite game in the 3 games? And you don't have to say it now. I want to know first what you think of this game, and then please tell me which one you like best so far, and then we go rate. I just want to, because I didn't tell you before that I want to know that.
So I too like the theme, although the theme here is very light. I mean, Sarah already mentioned the campaign. For me, the campaign is really just some, cursory stuff around it. It's not the main meat of the game. And that might be just because we've been just talking about stuff like Descent or Mansions of Madness that feel more, Mansions not, but Descent is very campaign feel like. I don't get the campaign feeling from this game where I want to know how this goes on. I want to know what he's up to. But this feels more, I think when you mentioned Pandemic, like not the legacy version, but the regular Pandemic, this is kind of, I get the same feel from that. It's a co-op game. It is, most games or most plays are kind of similar, but they have this, they have this
they
core
have
that's in there.
something.
But some stuff changes around that, and maybe this is unfair towards this game because this actually mixes up a lot more than what, let's say, regular Pandemic is doing. But I have the same feeling from that because the mechanisms are kind of similar, even though you are doing different things. That said, I don't think that's a bad thing at all, because this is the kind of game I don't want necessarily to play for every weekend or a couple of weeks in close order to get through the campaign. I also don't feel bad with this game if we play with friends and next week they're not there and we just play the next thing, because they're not missing out as much as they would be in a very strict campaign thing.
Yeah, or we don't need those characters to play that part of the campaign-y feel. That's exactly that's missing.
There's also no character or gear progression in between plays, so you kind of start up again. So it to me, it feels like a very just solid cooperative game that has some randomized or non-randomized elements in here with those things. I have to say the thing I probably like the best about this is the overkill mechanic. It is, I think I would really like to see more games make use of that. The empowerment you get from rolling the overkill and then getting to choose which awesome thing you want to do. I know that from a couple of role-playing games, but even there it's usually not that often that it comes up. Usually it's like, hey, you have a critical hit and that has this effect on that thing. This is similar to that, but you get to choose which critical effect you have, and you have a couple to choose from, which I think makes this
very powerful.
Yeah, it makes you feel powerful. I think that's it. And with some weapons or some items, that's even more so. I also like that is what distinguishes your character. Obviously, there's other difference. Like I have 3 general purpose action points. Sarah's character had 2 general purpose and 1 non-combat action point.
But I'm smarter. I have more IQ and less life.
But I have more hit points. So these characters are a little bit different in that way, and they feel different.
Yes.
That said, I didn't get the feeling, and comparing again to something like Pandemic, where the roles are kind of so essential and so different that you sometimes feel like, oh, we need to bring the doctor to be able to do this or that.
I did, actually.
With this game?
Yeah, with the last mission on the moon. That was when I looked at what we have to do, that I decided, we cannot have 2 tanks. We need to have someone who's really smart and do something. Otherwise, we can just.
I think I would say the characters fall in two base categories. One is for combat, and the other is for
Science-y things.
for non-combat things, obviously. And you want to have a balance there at least. But I meant in comparison with Pandemic, where
if you don't have the doctor, you don't need to play.
There are certain jobs that I don't want to say feel objectively, because that's a stupid sentence to say, but that appear to be better or easier, or making the game easier in that combination.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
Where you feel you need to bring them to stand a chance, regardless of what everybody else is picking up. And I didn't get this from that one.
You just needed to have one of each with the two players, and you're good to go. But it doesn't matter if you have the professor, the doctor, or the first officer. You can choose there and have slight variations. You don't necessarily need to have the professor with you to get through a scenario. I'm with you there.
Yeah, and even though the success chances on an individual roll are 30 to 70, with only three numbers hitting.
Yeah, go. I want to add something once you're done with the sentence.
I since you're usually rolling more than one die, it felt more like 50. I didn't get the feeling of like, oh man, we're screwed again because the dice. Unless obviously you're Sarah, but that is
we never rolled.
That is a very local phenomenon.
Yeah, but that's experiences. But I was very proud of the way we rolled today during the video, having 2 overkills. It's like this didn't happen in the last 2 scenarios that we played.
Let me refer you to the Engelstein table. That
it's like wow, we were really good. We're not having. Maybe we should play another board game tonight. We don't have to have Wheaton's disease today. Just saying. Anyway, but I found that very, very amusing while we played in the first section of the video. Just saying.
I'm hard pressed to say I don't think there's anything I could point to and say this is a thing I dislike. It's maybe. If there's something to dislike, is I don't see ourselves playing this like every week or something like that, because it is a little bit samey for that reason. But it is certainly a game I can see bring out every then or other time to just play a round of Space Cadets away.
Yeah, instead of maybe setting up Robinson Crusoe, I would sometimes ask you to. It's in the same category.
It's also from the Space Cadets franchise perspective. It is certainly the game that, even though Dice Duels is actually fast, because there's only so often you can roll dice without getting a cramp in your hand or arm in that regard. I think this feels like the quickest to bring out and just play through and then be done with it. Although, and then now I'm circling back to your question before we rate it, the game I still think is the superior experience, and I carefully phrase it that way, would be the original Space Cadets. But that is probably because of our game experiences with that. It's a game that you want to play with 4 or 5 players. Everybody has their position, and it just feels so different. I'm
surprised that you didn't say Dice Duels. My bet was on you liking Dice Duels.
No, I like I do like the challenges presented in Space Cadets that are not only just be quick with a solution, but just this varied amount of mini games that make it up. Something actually I want to check out, and maybe they have it available this year at Essen, is Captain Sonar, which seems to be a mix of both, actually. So a mix of Dice Duels and of the regular Space Cadets, where you also have you're controlling a submarine, a ship, and fighting against another submarine. But you have the communications officer who is kind of trying to listen in on what the other side is saying. And no, it's two teams against each other. So it's, as I said, it's a little bit of both. It's a little bit of Space Cadets in regards to different stations and stuff. I know that it does that in Dice Duels too. But
can we play that with 2 people only?
I don't think so. Wait, so I need to check out if that actually makes sense, because our group is at maximum maybe 6 people, and that might be not enough to play Captain Sonar.
Yeah, and the point is we very rarely play Dice Duels, because we're usually 4 or 5 players, and
I mean,
it doesn't get enough table time as it is, and having a new game of the same. But if it's so intriguing...
Yeah,
anyway.
I need to check it out. But yeah, the regular Space Cadets still is my favorite experience. But that being said, since the regular Space Cadets is a game that usually takes up 3 hours or longer, especially if you forgot everything how it is played in between, it is more of a group event for me, and I like it a little bit better for that. Then again, this game here hit the table more often since we got it in comparison to every instance of Space Cadets. Simply due to the fact this is actually played in a quicker way.
Yeah, and it is playable with just the 2 of us. That's also one thing that I would... I mean, technically you can play Space Cadets with 2 people, but... that game is the more the merrier.
It's not the point of the game.
Yes, and we can play this with 2. So most times it's just the 2 of us. So if you know how many days there are in a week and how many days of that week our gaming group is here, and all the rest of the week it's just the 2 of us. So it's very obviously, logically, this one hits the table way more because we can play it just the 2 of us, and I make you once in a while. Anyway, let's rate. I love the Space Cadets universe, and it's my second favorite game. I'm having trouble with the Dice Duels. Of Space Cadet. I'm loving the original one, and this one is the 2-player version of that universe for me. And I love the universe.
I only give it a slight sideways tilt because there's something I think that should be captivating, but it doesn't grab me as much as other games do. And I have actually a hard time putting that into words. I mean, I hope you figure out what it is by just watching us. But it's, I
like it for what it is. Like I said, for me, it's in my brain. There's different boxes with games. It's not like with the shelves where things are aligned to game mechanic. But this one is in a box in my brain for me, with Robinson Crusoe. Also, cooperative game. You kind of have your own pace while playing, but you have a timer in the background, and it sometimes feels more of the samey, like you said, but still with the dice and everything, you have a luck factor. And don't either. Blah, luck factor be in there.
You're welcome.
Yeah, just for you folks. It fills the same need or the same space for what I want to play as Robinson Crusoe does. Also with the campaigns or the scenarios that you can play, you don't have to have the same group. You don't have to play campaign E. But you can if you like. And sometimes I'm not in the mood to set up that huge Robinson Crusoe board. Then I want this one.
Yeah.
So it has a place for me. That's why thumbs up. Though I have the thought of maybe it's not going to be exciting in a year.
Although I agree with you, for some reason Robinson Crusoe, the scenarios have a more thematic feel to me than this does.
Maybe I have enough imagination that this is enough for a trigger for me, and you need a bit more to have story in there. It could very well be.
I mean, I usually tend to be the guy who reduces the game into this is the combat encounter, and these are the optimal solutions to this and that problem, and there's also a theme. But
I play differently.
This game for me is more a mechanical challenge, if that's a word, than a thematic involvement into this. But that's, as I said, that's not bad. But that's something I don't want to play every evening or every week or something like that.
But I don't want to play Robinson Crusoe every week either.
True.
Let's hop into the last section, likes and dislikes. No, funny stories and experiences. My brain is somewhere. It's in a jar. My brain is in a jar. It's not there.
This is going horrible. This is almost like as if we... Yes.
I'm sober.
This is a very unprofessional
I'm awake. What's wrong with me? Not good.
So,
funny stories and experiences.
That you liked and disliked.
So we played it 4 times. 2 times with 3 people, 2 times with just the 2 of us. And I liked the experiences in total, like all of them. Some were more thrilling, some were more on the desperate side because of me not being able to roll dice in a row, like, you know. At one point there will be a cure. Maybe Pandemic the Cure expansion that's going to come out now this year is for Wheaton's disease of rolling dice. I hope.
Some things cannot be cured.
I know. But there's not particular funny stories that I do remember, but the fluff text of the scenario. So the setup time is always very funny when you set it because of, like I said, the fluff and blah, blah, blah. But the playing experiences were more like us heckling each other if we're not able to roll dice, and him going with the, oh, that's so well done, honey.
Good roll.
Good roll. Now he does it in every game.
Continues to be a good roll.
I want to smack him sometimes. I don't. I just say you don't get any dessert. Sometimes it works, sometimes he's quiet, sometimes not. Anyway, but all in all, it was good times. It didn't feel like this is just an activity to, spend some time together because it's date night, or because we want to have it on the Gamers Couch or something like that. It was always good times, and there was always that one moment at the end when you get that intense, oh my god, time is running out, aliens are gonna kind of a thing, and then you find the elevator and you just have to stun everybody and go. So that's kind of a feeling that was every time.
That's kind of the defining thing. I remember when you kind of try to rob me on the street and say, hold up your hands, what are your thoughts about Space Cadets away missions? Achso, is the German, the additional German bit?
There's another one in there that I did.
So if you would do that, so if I'm saying there, I think that the defining feel about this game is the race at the end of the game, where you are running for the exit and have usually masses of aliens chasing you down. Yeah,
it feels like you're the rock star and the groupies are running behind you, but that's aliens, and we're just, no, I gotta go, I need privacy.
Yeah, I don't think that's the groupie kind of...
No, that feels like it. You have like a whole crowd of aliens like running behind you. It's like, I want you, can you give me an autograph or something? This is my brain in a jar. And you're just like, oh, let's get away. I need some peace and quiet and a donut or something. That's what's going on in my brain.
And now you know that the thematic integration for Sarah works very much differently from probably everybody.
I know. I'm so sorry, folks, but I love my brain. I love my weird thoughts. This is my brain in a jar. And when it's nighttime, it's gonna be whiskey in a jar. But
I want to know about things that are painted.
Oh yeah. For one, if you don't know, and because you're new to the channel, on Wednesdays, it's another board game day. But there, Tina and I, we are painting scenes from our experiences with board games, and we made one for Space Cadets Away Mission. If you're curious, check it out. It's in the playlist. What do I have? Do I have a leech? Ah, it's a bug! No!
Why are you shaking the... Is it like, oh, a spider?
No, I want to make him motion sick before he flies so that he can puke or... No, anyway. Next week, we do not have Space Cadets because, like I said, we painted it already a while ago. But we're going to have another... It's actually the first episode of Season 4 with Draw for Initiative. I can't believe that we're already in Season 4. It is a game we played recently that is...
Space Cadets Away Missions.
That is very abstract and...
Space Cadets Away Missions.
Technical.
Space Cadets Away Missions.
Strategy.
Space Cadets Away Missions.
Competitive.
Space Cadets... That's...
The designers are from France. It has an Asian influence in there. And I do love the colors of that game. Particularly. It's like... Argh.
Is it from your favorite design?
No. It's not from my favorite Antoine. No, it's not.
It's Asian? Has technically...
Asian influence, but it's made by French designers.
Oh, okay. So, and I...
Played it recently.
With technical, you actually mean more... it's an abstract game.
I said it's an abstract technical game while you were blurting out Space Cadets Away Mission all the time. I gave you all the hints.
With technical, I'm more thinking about technical and not like...
Well, you gotta
as
do...
in regards to game mechanics.
You gotta do technical things to do something on the board.
Yes, it's... I cannot say Samurai Spirit because you already...
No, that's... I said it's not Antoine.
What other false lead can I give? Say, now that I know what it is, it's really difficult to come up with something else that would fit the bill. Most, and especially since most Asian kind of
games that we have are all done by Frenchmen,
and all done most. I think all the others are done by Antoine Bozard.
Do we have any that are not done? Rise of the Kage is kind of Asian-ish with the things, but it's not made by French people, right?
Yeah, and I don't count that.
So that would be the only... no, it's only Antoine.
Well... If you know what we're talking about, you can...
It's not Antoine Bozard's games.
You can start pushing and throwing stones around, and that should be a solid hint.
Mm-hmm. Very much so. Well done, honey. Well done. So come back on Wednesday to find out what game he just guessed and then teased because of my awesome hints. And come back next Sunday to the Gamers Couch. It's going to be our 100th episode. We're currently thinking about what to do there.
We're not...
I was saying funny hats. Maybe I will... Well, I'm actually the CEO for this. So maybe I could say we're going to do it.
I don't want to have a funny hat.
You want to have like a bow tie or something? Or like a balloon? Or
I'm not liking where this discussion is going. So, if you enjoyed our ramblings about a board game in space...
Come back Sunday.
Or other board games, not necessarily in space, but maybe in space. Like, subscribe. This is the call to action that is happening.
Yeah, the YouTube trifecta. Share.
Hey, what's up, guys? Like and subscribe. That's how the kids these days do these, right?
You have way too many gray hairs to be in that age
Correct.
thing. Me too. I have too many wrinkles and gray
If you
hairs.
want to see more rambling of us, either check this out on YouTube, as you are probably doing, and if you are not doing that on YouTube, there's other ways to keep in touch with what we output in regards to board game stuff, mostly
Facebooks.
the geek lists on Board Game Geek.
That too.
So it's the Gamers Couch Geek List, as well as the Draw for Initiative Geek List that has all the drawing
all the
videos Sarah
drawings.
and Tina are doing.
If you want to know what we play a certain night, you have to follow me on Instagram, because there will be photos of things that you will later see maybe in the Gamers Couch.
Yeah.
So if you want to have teasers, go to the Instagrams.
If you can avoid it, don't follow us in real life, because I
don't like stalkers.
If you want to sit in a tree and stalk us, there are trees here, but they are not that safe anymore.
They're birch trees, so
keep safe, keep it digital.
Yes, that's a very good thing. But soon-ish, there's going to be two things that we're going to be at. One is Spiel in Essen, and the other one is BGGCon in Dallas. If you see us there, please come by and say hello. Because there, it's not stalking, it's saying hi and socializing. That's fine.
Also, if you see us, you can say hi to someone else. So don't feel obliged to say hi to us in that regard.
I have a funny picture in my head.
I know those two guys. Hi. So, since Sarah is dying next to me again, I will now say
I'm like
goodbye.
A cat. I'm like a cat. I have 15 million times of life,
It's 9.
whatever. Yeah, but I have more because I died way more than 9 times because of you making a horrible joke and me having very funny pictures in my head that are quite amusing.
So if you're crazy already, life is
Welcome
a lot
to my
easier
family.
to get through, because everything is funny, even if it's just nonsense.
I can amuse myself. I don't need other people for that. That's a good thing. Anyway, we're really gonna go now. Have fun, everybody. If you have any questions or comments, that's the last thing I will tell you. Leave it in the comment section. We're gonna reply. Bye!
Goodbye.